So, now that you're in the game, you find your character's naked, obviously, because you are just starting out, and you are instantly transported into the tutorial. What you're seeing here is Daok 178. Daok means year, so this is the year. This is the month, this is the day, and this is the time in the game. You will find that you have your 5 statistics here. You have your strength, you have your intelligence, you have your wisdom, you have your constitution, and you have your dexterity. Now, what these do are very specific things, so you really actually have to watch out where you're putting your statistics as you level up. For example, strength is all about your ability to do damage, if you're like a warrior type. Intelligence is how much damage you're doing as a spellcaster. So remember, strength is about damage. Intelligence is about spell damage. You've got wisdom, which increases your MP, your magic points. So wisdom increases magic points, intelligence gives you spell damage. So just make sure you get those stats correctly. Constitution, this increases your hit points as you level up. So con, hit points. And dexterity increases your ability to hit with a melee weapon. So though strength increases your damage, you're not going to damage anything if you can't hit your enemy. So you have to raise that dexterity score with your strength. Don't forget that either. So very important if you're playing a melee type class, especially a monk and a warrior. Yes, you could choose monk. We'll get to the classes in a little bit. So this is the tutorial. You can either, you start falling asleep if your character sits there. So it says, welcome to Dark Ages, online role-playing. This tutorial will give you facts and skills you need to begin. You will gain 5,000 experience points, a dirk, which is a dagger, and 1,000 coins to start off with. First thing you should do in this tutorial is talk to all the merchants. There are 5 of them. When you are ready to leave, you can leave the tutorial by continuing to the end of this pathway. To move, right-click the mouse to the position where you want to move. In tight spots, you can use the arrow keys on your keyboard to walk around. I use the arrow keys to walk around because the mouse move, it's okay, but your character will start zigzagging around because remember, this game is based on a grid and it will choose the best path possible along this grid. So it says if you get lost, press tab. The tab is like your mini map. It just pops up in the middle of the screen. It's not like a map. It's more a grid map which shows you where you are, where objects are, and where enemies are. But it doesn't tell you where exit spots are. So you kind of have to pay attention to the pathways because it's on the pathways that where the exits are. You should have a piece of clothing in your inventory. You could press the A key to access your inventory. Double click on the piece of clothing to wear it. You can skip this tutorial by going up to the path and turn right at the next corner. So I'm gonna put something on because we don't really want to be naked. There we go. So you can start talking to this guy. He will teach you more kind of about the game. Of course, you could also pay attention to my videos because I go way more further in depth. This guy teaches you more. If you go up here, I'll show you the map. So this is the map. Everything that appears in green is an NPC. Everything that appears in red is a monster or a hostile enemy. Even non-hostile enemies. You'll see that some enemies are like trapped in buildings and things like that, so be very careful, because there are some enemies that will spell sling through the buildings and kill you. So you have to be aware of that for later on in levels. There's a pathway up here that takes you like up this way, which you could learn about like magic spells and stuff like that. So we're just going to, of course, make our way to the exit. We don't want to disturb these monsters. Like I said, there are some hostile monsters and some not. The ones that start chasing you, those are of course the hostile ones. Once you are done with your tutorial, you can begin your journey. So you're about to leave the tutorial, and it tells you all about the hints. Mundanes. Mundanes are NPCs in this game. They are not, they're not PCs. PCs in this game are called Aeslings. Or Aeslings. I call them Aeslings. So if people say go talk to the Mundanes, it means go talk to the NPCs. So also what you want to remember closely is this game is heavily roleplay oriented. I don't know if they still follow the strict policy, but back then, if you wanted to speak on an out of character basis, you had to speak in brackets, because the game really taught you how to roleplay. You spoke in brackets if you speak out of characterly, and if you speak in characterly, you could just type normally. So you've completed the tutorial. Do you want to skip it? We were going to say yes. If you need help playing Dark Ages, you can click beneath your name in the interface. You can also press the F1 key for help, or you could continue watching Rosa Streaming Network, and I will teach you a whole whack more about the game. So it gives you a Dirk and 1,000 gold coins. So you just push OK. It's going to take you back to your home. You've gained 5,000 experience. Levels in this game is called Insight. So when somebody asks you what's your insight, they're asking you what your level is. So you appear in your bed. A little storyline thing pops up. You rub your eyes. Oh, that was some dream. Feels good to wake up in the fresh straw bed of Nilith. You remember the dull yesterday that is every day, working till you are sore, tired, and heartless. But you feel refreshed, and suddenly you realize something's very different now. A light swirls around you. Yeah, they spelt it wrong. You look around and think for a second, but I was working just yesterday, slaving away at a poor field without so much of a thought. And now there's the light. Could it be I'm an Aesling? You should go downstairs and ask Rona about the training quest. Right after you put on your clothes, of course. So this game gets you kind of set up into the storyline of Temrier. Temrier, of course, is this part of the world. You want to put on your rings right away. Also want to put on your dirk right away. The rings, different rings do different things for you. They will give you hit points, they will give you magic points, and they will sometimes give you statistics. For example, the small emerald ring and the small spinal ring will give you each a +2 to damage and +2 to hit. So if you're wondering how I did that, you push Shift G, and this tells you a lot of interesting things. We're going to get into this again later, but I'll give you a small hint about it now. This is your attacking element. Right now you have no elements, but when you put on necklaces, of course, you get an element. This is your defense element. Much like the necklace, if you put on a belt, the belt grants you a specific element. This is your magic resistance, 0%. This does not mean like if you have 100% magic resistance, you're immune to spells. It just means that the spell's going to do 100% less damage than it normally would, which is roughly like splitting the spell in half. It's a strange mechanism, but it does reflect like a whole ton of magic. AC, your armor class. This actually goes down. So the more it decreases, the better it is. Damage, you want this high. So damage and hit, this helps you hit creatures. This helps you deal some extra lethal damage. Now, of course, your level up points, you have 6 points to level up. Now remember, once you make this decision, you can't go back on the decision. It's permanent. So you have to be very careful what you want your stats to be at. And for this, you have to start deciding what kind of class you want to be. Now, you don't have to spend the points right away either. You can accumulate the statistics for now and just continue to go out and explore the world. And once you know what you want to have, then you can, of course, start allocating your points. And that'll do it for this specific tutorial. We're going to get on to the next part next.